For most of the 20th century, the American middle class was the backbone of the country. Stable jobs, home ownership, a decent retirement, that was the promise. But that promise is crumbling. And the force behind it isn't a recession or a housing crash. It's artificial intelligence. The jobs that built the middle class, the accountants, the analysts, the paralegals, the journalists, are disappearing. So today, we're asking, how is AI hollowing out the middle class? And what does that mean for the future of the entire economy? Let's talk numbers. In the first 6 months of 2025 alone, nearly 78,000 tech job losses were directly attributed to AI. And the World Economic Forum found that 41% of employers globally are planning to cut up to 40% of their workforce due to AI within the next 5 years. This isn't a slow burn, it's accelerating fast. Goldman Sachs estimates that up to 300 million full-time jobs globally could be affected by AI automation. And crucially, most of the workers being displaced belong to one group, the middle class. The people who spent years training for stable, respectable careers are now finding those careers under direct threat. People used to think automation was a blue-collar problem. Factory workers, warehouse staff, those were the jobs at risk. But that's no longer the reality. AI is moving into white-collar territory fast. Customer service is perhaps the sector where displacement has moved furthest and fastest, with chatbots and virtual assistants now handling a volume of interactions that would previously have required thousands of human agents. In finance, AI is taking over compliance checks and middle office processing. In law, contracts are being drafted by AI tools. In journalism, entire articles are being generated automatically. By the end of 2026, research suggests that 20% of organizations will use AI to flatten their management structures, eliminating over 50% of current middle management positions. These aren't low-skill roles. These are exactly the kinds of jobs the middle class was built on. So what about retraining? Getting a better degree? That used to be the answer. But AI is moving faster than education can keep up. The skills employers want today, machine learning, data science, AI development, barely feature in most traditional degree programs. And the cost of getting that education keeps climbing, leaving millions of workers stuck in a system that no longer delivers what it promised. Higher-income Americans have seen wage growth of around 3%, while middle and lower-income households are seeing just 1.5% and 1.1%, respectively. The gap isn't just in jobs, it's in wages, too. Workers are being asked to adapt faster than ever, with fewer resources to do it. While workers are losing out, those at the very top are doing extraordinarily well. The top 1% of U.S. households now own 31.7% of all American wealth, the highest share on record since the Federal Reserve began tracking it in 1989. Collectively, the wealthiest 1% hold around $55 trillion in assets, roughly equal to the combined wealth of the bottom 90% of Americans. The companies leading the AI revolution are capturing nearly all of the gains, while the workers displaced by it are being pushed into the gig economy, unstable, low-paid work with no benefits and no ladder to climb. Workers with specialized AI skills now command salaries up to 56% higher than peers in identical roles without those skills, which tells you everything about who this economy is being built for. Here's the part that doesn't get talked about enough. The middle class isn't just a group of workers, it's the engine of the entire U.S. economy. Consumer spending drives economic growth, and the middle class is the biggest driver of that spending. The top 10% of earners now drive nearly half of all U.S. consumer spending, a historic high that shows just how dependent the economy has become on a shrinking group of affluent households. If AI continues to hollow out the middle, you end up with a dangerous paradox, an economy that produces more than ever, but has fewer and fewer people who can actually afford to buy what it produces. That's not just a social problem, that's a systemic economic risk. AI is not going away. If anything, it's speeding up. The question isn't whether it will change the workforce, it already is. The question is whether businesses, governments, and institutions will act before it's too late. Because a middle class that can't survive isn't just bad for the people in it, it's bad for everyone. At Macro Breakdown, we break down the economic forces shaping the world, clearly and without the noise. If this video gave you something to think about, subscribe, and we'll keep covering the stories that matter. Drop any questions in the comments below.